Former President Donald Trump.
Hey, what's going on, folks? We're going to analyze the Trump CNN town hall, where they actually applauded him when he came out and applauded him when he talked about pardoning some of the January 6ers.
If I get in, I will most likely, I would say it will be a large portion of them. You know, they did a very...
Did Trump win over a room of voters hosted by CNN? Are they giving him a fair shake? I think I know exactly what's going on here, and I'll briefly talk about it before we move on to Ron DeSantis saying that E-Verify is now mandatory in the state of Florida to work. Thomas Massie has been sounding the alarm against E-Verify because he's worried it could turn into a vaccine passport very quickly. We'll talk about that, a few other interesting videos that I've seen, and I'll address something at the end. God bless you guys. Show starts now.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles.
What's going on, everybody? I see YouTube there. I don't see Facebook yet. Hopefully I am live on Facebook. If I am, what's up? We're going to talk about a few things today. I hope you stay tuned to talk about E-Verify. There's some sort of new database government program coming on. And, Ron DeSantis is bragging about doing it, but a lot of people like Thomas Massie, or not a lot of people. Okay, I see Facebook. Thank you, guys. A lot of people are warning that E-Verify is actually a setup, and eventually they could use it for vaccine passports. So I hope you stay tuned for that story and a few other stuff I want to play. But first, I want to just show this clip of Trump at the CNN town hall, because I see a lot of accounts saying, wow, they're applauding him. This is amazing. And it very well could be. I'm not going to be a hater today, for those who are wondering. I do think that this could have been a chess move. We're going to play the clip of them clapping the audience on CNN when Trump says he's going to pardon January 6ers. I mean, this is quite the scene. Let's watch.
If I get in, I will most likely, I would say it will be a large portion of them. You know, they did a very, and it'll be very early on. And they're living in hell right now.
So when it comes to
living
pardons,
in hell.
So that's Trump saying, they asked him a question. I chopped it up. What would you do for some of the people that rioted or protested on January 6th? And Trump had said he'd pardon them. And CNN had done a roaring applause. Let me just read real quick. Everybody's least favorite person in the Democrat Party, not everybody's, but AOC, she was furious at this CNN town hall. She said, CNN should be ashamed of themselves. They have lost total control of this town hall to be again manipulated into platforming election disinformation, defenses of January 6th, and a public attack on a sexual abuse victim. The audience is cheering him on and laughing at the host. This falls squarely on CNN. Everyone here saw exactly what was going to happen. Instead, they put a sexual abuse victim in harm's way for views. This was a choice to platform lies about the election in January 6th with no plan but to have their moderator interrupted without consequence. So you have the left is furious. The right is saying, wow, Trump won over CNN. This is crazy. Here's what I'm going to say, and then you could decide whether this is a good art of the deal or bad art of the deal, because there is a deal being made. Yesterday on True Social, I covered it briefly, but Trump literally said, they made me a deal I couldn't refuse. So I could tell you what that deal was, and you tell me if it's a good deal or not, because it helps both sides. So it seems like the deal was CNN is going to platform Trump. CNN is going to give Trump a fair shake. CNN is going to be able to try to, I don't know if it's going to work, I don't think so, but they're going to try to rebrand as moderate because they're losing a lot of ratings. They're not as popular as Fox or MSNBC in a lot of ways. So, Trump and CNN kind of created this unholy alliance to help each other. What does Trump need to win this next election? Well, he needs the Democrat media to like him a little more, to, unbrainwash some of their people, or to sell him as a better option. And then what does CNN need? They need ratings. They need Trump. As much as they hate Trump, and we're going to talk about this at the end of my video too. I'm not a hateful person, and I don't like drama. I don't like to spend time on things that I can't stand. I try not to, at least. A lot of people, it's like they need to hate. They need to, they need Trump to yell at in order to have something to talk about. So I feel like that's what the deal was. All I'm saying is people acting shocked, like, wow, the audience is applauding him. I'm guessing Trump, this is not, obviously, I don't have the intel, but just by watching most of the town hall or parts of it, I could tell that probably what Trump wanted was a platform. He probably wanted a fair audience. He probably wanted a favorable audience. He probably wanted I would say, an applause, like respect. They didn't want him to get booed, probably, or he didn't want to get booed. And then I'm sure CNN wanted Trump's ratings, and they also want Trump to help them maybe rebrand. You get what I'm saying? They've really failed at being like bipartisan, nonpartisan, or we're fair. Nobody likes CNN that much. They don't have the ratings of even Rachel Maddow. So they're kind of in this weird spot of like the left doesn't like them or respect them. The right hates them. What do? Either you tank like a lot of left-wing media, or you try to rebrand. In my view, that's why he got a standing ovation. CNN's trying to play both sides. They're trying to bring back on some conservatives. They're trying to get the views off of Trump, and Trump is getting the positive attention from CNN, their viewers, and it's a win for both sides. Let me know what you think. I'm not here to hate. I'm not here to say that Trump is so horrible for doing this. I'm not here to say CNN is good again. I'm just telling you this seems like it was the deal. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's smart for Trump to resurrect CNN, help their ratings, help them rebrand in return for fair coverage? I get both sides of it. On one hand, I want CNN to fail, right? I don't want them to do well. I think they're dishonest and I'll never trust them. On the other hand, they do have somewhat influence, and it is nice if you're Trump and you're running for election. The generals are probably scarier than the primaries. You have to win the primary first, but at the same time, Trump is really needing the audience that watches CNN to like him a little more. So what do you think? I don't know. I mean, I see both sides of it. On one hand, I think it's whack to resurrect CNN. On another hand, I get that everything is a trade-off, and in order to win the election, if you can finesse CNN into giving you positive coverage, it is what it is. I don't know. I'm not super mad at it. I definitely had my opinion yesterday. I have an opinion today, but that is the deal. This is all I'll say before I move on. These accounts that are like, oh my gosh, he's getting applauded. It's like, that's the deal. It's not like random. It's not spontaneous. CNN needs ratings. CNN wants to be moderate. CNN wants to win Trump's audience back. The truth is, conservatives are heavy into media. Fox does better. On Facebook, people like Dan Bongino, Ben Shapiro do better. I do well. Conservatives seem like they have a bigger audience that seems more loyal. In my view, the reason the conservative audience is more loyal is because there's something to be loyal to. There's at least something there. With left-wing media, it's too chaotic. It's too unhealthy. They don't have this loyal base. So they're trying to tap into you and earn your trust back. I don't think you should trust CNN. But to be honest, I'm not that upset with the move that Trump made. And I will say this once again before I move on. I love the fact that I'm able to, and at the end of the show, I'm going to tell you how this also gets me in trouble a little bit, but I'm not attached to any politician. I'm not attached to any super PAC. I'm not attached to any activist group. So I could speak freely about it. And it's funny because I'm watching people that are in the bag for DeSantis. They're like, oh, Trump's doing so bad. And I'm watching the clips and I'm like, as somebody that criticizes Trump a lot, because I don't agree with a lot of the lies that he tells sometimes, I don't think he did that bad. I think he came off fine. I don't think he did bad at all on CNN. But it's just funny. Like, I love the fact that I'm able to be like, oh, that was interesting. This is the deal. But both sides are just so in the bag for their candidate. It's like, oh, that's terrible what Trump's doing. Like, it wasn't that bad from what I saw. I thought he did fine. And then you have the Trump side where they're like, look, CNN's applauding him. It's like they're applauding him because Trump did a deal with CNN to help them resurrect their ratings in exchange for a fair audience. I'm not trying to act like I'm so much better than everybody, but that's why I do news analysis. I look at them, and I'm like, I could do this better, because you guys are just that, you guys are that. Sometimes the truth is like a little bit of both. I thought he did fine, but it's not coincidental that they're clapping for him and he just spontaneously won over a bunch of Democrats and CNN people. No. They did a deal because CNN wants your coverage, your ratings, your trust. Give them the views if you want, but I wouldn't trust them. That's all I'm going to say. Appreciate you guys. The second story is E-Verify. So everybody seems to like E-Verify except for Thomas Massie. And usually when Thomas Massie's the only one voting for something, he's usually right. It's like 99.9% of Republicans can vote one way and Thomas Massie votes the other way. And 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, I trust Thomas Massie more than most Republicans. I just do. So he's against E-Verify, but, you know, he got in a little bit with Jack Posobiec the other day. Even Ron DeSantis, who Thomas Massie endorsed, is proudly saying that Florida is going to be the biggest state where you need E-Verify to get a job. So what is E-Verify and what are the pros and cons if you're conservative? If you're liberal, I don't know what you're thinking anymore. Thanks for listening to my show. Hopefully we have more in common than you think. I'm a classic liberal in the sense of I actually believe in, you know, conversation and understanding the other side. I know they don't do that much anymore, but they used to. Anyway, the pros of it, if you're against illegal immigration, would be that it's verifying who's a citizen. So I think that's what the Republicans are running for. They're trying to basically be like, look, we did E-Verify in Florida, and now if you're an illegal immigrant, you know, you're not going to be able to pass through the system of jobs. At least that's how I read it. I don't know if that's what they're trying to say, but I'm reading it as now we're going to verify every worker, and if you're not a citizen, you can't work. The con of it is, of course, just looking at 2020. I understand that there's already a system in place, but we just watched the government lock the country down. We watched the world lock itself down. A lot of countries did that, and they basically tried to put in a vaccine passport within the last 2 years, and they failed because enough people weren't getting the boosters, and they didn't really have the technology at hand to usher it in quick enough and get it to stick. So I believe that if they had all their ducks in a row, they would have wanted, or they would have been more successful with the vaccine passport. I think they kind of messed that up, thank God, because that would have been crazy. So here's the thing. It's like, how quickly could, hey, Patriots, we're going to do E-Verify for illegal immigrants. And then 2 years later, it's like that same system can then be used to kick you out of a job if you don't get a vaccine. Just a thought, that's what Thomas Massie's thinking. I tend to lean that way. I don't fully trust it. I think it's good to make sure people are citizens, but you know, how quickly that could turn into a vaccine passport, I see it. On that note, I want to talk about something that's going on Twitter, because I see a lot of people freaking out about Twitter too, where Twitter is starting to do more and more stuff. Tucker Carlson's going to Twitter. Elon says that he's not going to pay Tucker Carlson anymore, that Tucker's just going to be a user on Twitter, which is wild, which means Tucker turned down $100 million deals just to go to Twitter like everyone else. But with that being said, I just have to say two things that I feel like a lot of people are misleading about. One is there's a view count of the views, and then there's a count of how many people look at a tweet. I think the video has like 20 million views, but 100 million tweet views. If you see those numbers, so many accounts that I follow are like, look, he got 100 million views. No, he got 100 million tweet impressions, which is just like scrolling, barely seeing it. A view is a view. So people are comparing it to the Super Bowl. It's like, it's not the same. I mean, Tucker does well, but just be honest about that. There's a difference between a tweet view and a video view. With that, and people are just getting it misconstrued. It annoys me. Anyway, also, I see a lot of people are like, Elon wants to have everything go through Twitter and create this all-in-one system. There's a lot of fear-mongering around it, kind of like the E-Verify. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm not just simply defending Twitter like you can't think or disagree with me. This is just my opinion. It's not like I care what you think about Twitter, because I do think we should all be cautious of tech doing too much. It's already doing too much. But people are like, oh, Twitter is going to turn into an all-in-one thing where, you know, it's going to turn into like what E-Verify or Passport. And it's like, Google owns like almost everything. It's hard to even run ads on the internet without Google. Google owns YouTube. The top two websites are Google and YouTube, so they have number one and number two. Google has all its own stuff. Apple has its own pay system. If you're not in with Google and Apple, you can't even get on the App Store. Essentially, Apple has a monopoly on the App Store and Google has a monopoly on it if you have a Google phone. So this idea that Twitter doing monetization for videos is so scary because they're going to take over and control you. It's like Google, Apple, and Facebook already have way more power than Twitter. As a content creator who's been banned from TikTok, who's been demonetized on Facebook and YouTube at times and Instagram, I'm happy what Twitter's doing. I don't fully trust Elon Musk. I'm not putting a computer chip in my head and flying to Mars or pretending to. You get what I'm saying? But I feel like Elon makes a move to help creators, and people are like, oh, this is going to be some sort of all-in-one system. It's like Facebook already does 50 times more. If you go to Instagram, you could shop on Instagram. Like if Twitter adds a shop, it's like, whoa, they already do that. You know, all the other social medias do it. They do a subscription model. They do monetization. I hope Twitter gets monetization. I mean, it's probably going to be way better than Facebook or YouTube with way less shadow banning. So all I'm going to say is be skeptical. But let's not act like one or two things is like, wow, Facebook owns WhatsApp. I think Google owns a lot of stuff. Facebook, I don't, you get what I'm saying? I don't want to go on and on about it, but it's like there's already tech companies that do 50 things. If Twitter does 6 things and now they're doing 12 things, it's not like the end of the world, in my view. But you could disagree with me. Let me know what you think about E-Verify, because that's why I brought it up. It's very similar. Do you think E-Verify is a good system? We have too many illegal immigrants working and this is going to help? Or do you think it's going to lead to a vaccine passport? Critics of E-Verify also have said that illegals usually work off the books. So if you're working off the books and E-Verify comes in, you could still work off the books. So, a lot of people are like, this new technology is going to not only change nothing, it's also going to just like add a new layer of control for the future. Let me know what you think. I don't know. I tend to trust Thomas Massie. I trust myself more than anyone, but I'm not buying it. I like DeSantis, a lot of what he's doing, but this is just what it is. I don't know if I trust that move. And before we move to the next segment, I want to say I appreciate everybody who watches me, who supports me, who knows my true character and soul. I'm going to bring it up at the end, but there's been a lot of smear attempts recently this week on myself, especially people trying to tie me to that Texas shooter, which is insane. I don't care if people call me like racist and anti-Semitic. I'm neither of those things, but those are just smear words that people overuse. They say toilet paper is racist and, Trump is anti-Semitic, even though he has like Jewish kids and, he's very tight with Israel. That word has been so overused. So even though I'm neither of those two things, I don't mind when people exaggerate and lie about that because everyone does it to the point where no one cares. But there's actually someone out there that's trying to tag me in a CNN post and tie me to neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and say that I'm somehow involved. And it's really creeping me out. Once again, I don't mind if people don't like me. I don't mind if people think that I'm hateful, even though I'm obviously not. But to do something like that, it's been a very crazy week. It feels like that they're trying to tie me to an evil tragedy that an evil person did, and I have nothing to do with it. Not only do I not preach violence, I've never preached that. I don't believe that. There would never be a time where I did preach that because I don't believe it from the core of my heart and soul. But I don't even preach hate. There's some people, conservatives and liberals, left-wing, right-wing, etc., that say like, oh, you should be angry, you should be hateful. I don't preach that. I don't think you should be angry, and I don't think you should be hateful. I think that anger and hate makes you irrational, and it makes you stressed out and emotional, and it's not a good way to be. So I actually, not only do I not preach violence, because violence is evil against innocent people, that's insane, but hate and anger is something that I don't even preach either. It's like there's plenty of people that think it's good to do that. I don't. But anyway, I'll talk about it at the end. Thank you guys for my support. And I'll say exactly like, at times like these, it's just nice for people to know who I really am and who I've been my whole life, because it seems like a somewhat coordinated smear effort to try to, distort my character and attach me to groups that I'm not a part of. And if people want to lie about me a little bit, that's fine, but you can't say I'm a part of an organization that I'm not, and it's just crazy. Anyway, let me watch this funny clip real quick. It's some guy in Congress. He's talking about crypto and how the U.S. government prints money. I just thought it was super, super funny. So let's just take a watch.
Crypto bros make money literally by making money, and they've made over $1 trillion out of thin air. They'll accuse the U.S. government of making money out of thin air. Maybe we do, but we're the U.S. government.
It's like my favorite clip of the week. I'm going to write a whole article about it. He's like, crypto bros make money out of thin air, and they accuse us of making money out of thin air. I mean, we do, but we're the U.S. government. We got to run that back. That's just classic. I love this. This is so funny.
Crypto bros make money literally by making money, and they've made over $1 trillion out of thin air. They'll accuse the U.S. government of making money out of thin air. Maybe we do, but we're the U.S. government.
I don't even know if that guy's a Democrat or a Republican. I don't know if he's a great congressman or a terrible one, but that's hilarious. I kind of want to have a drink with him and be like, bro, that was funny. He's like, maybe we do. Maybe we do print money, but we're the U.S. government. It's like, he's not lying. I mean, they definitely do that. It's really funny. I wanted to play this clip of RFK Jr. I saw the Hodge twins retweet this and they said, why doesn't DeSantis or Trump talk about this? And I love that energy. I love challenging Trump and DeSantis. Whether you want to vote for Trump or DeSantis, I love using other candidates to be like, hey, this makes sense. Why don't you say that? Here's RFK Jr. talking about SSRIs, which I think is like pharmacy meds, and the link to certain mass shooters. So let's just watch this.
Mark, with all these shootings, you know, nobody is looking at the pharmaceutical contribution to that. Anecdotally, it appears that almost every one of these shooters were on SRIs or some other psychiatric drug. And
I don't want to play the whole clip because I don't feel like getting a copyright strike, but this is why I like RFK. I don't trust everything he does. I know he's a Democrat, but man, like this is authenticity, right? This is authentic. I love that he's bringing that up. Big Pharma is crazy, folks. I saw a thing on Twitter today where it was a antidepressant medication that was supposed to be like a booster. Like if your antidepressant medication's not working, here's another one. Here's another one on top of that one. And the side effects are crazy. And it's like, wow, you know, this is what they're doing. Big Pharma is out of control. And I do think that there is a link there. Obviously, people are responsible for their own actions. Not all pharmaceuticals hurt people. Obviously, some help. But our country has a drug problem. Our country has an over-pharmaceutical problem. Doesn't matter if you're right-wing, left-wing, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. You know, like, there's bad people out there. There's good and bad people. There's people who lose it. And I think that there is a link to a lot of people's, like, you know, spiral and the distortion of the mind through pharmaceuticals. I really do believe that. And I'm just glad he's saying that. That's all I'll really say. I'm going to address the last thing real quick. And I don't even really want to bring up the name because I feel like this person is just seeking attention. And, you know, basically this started like 2 weeks ago because someone took a clip of the Candace Owens interview out of context where basically the message that we were saying, and I'm just going to repeat it because I can't control what people say. I can't control how people lie about me and lie about my character. But what I can tell you is who I am. So I just want to get this out of the way and just be 100% like truthful about this. When it comes to race, ethnicity, religion, you know, culture, where you're from, country, I truly think that God made good people from everywhere. I'm not a person that hates all Chinese people because China's government is competing with the US. I'm not somebody that hates all Israelis or Palestinians because of what's going on with the war or contributions to politics. I'm not someone who hates Russia or hates Ukraine because of what's going on there. I don't do that. I'm not that type of person. I'm not overly nationalistic to the point that I hate other citizens. I know that God made everybody and there's good people everywhere. I'm not saying this as a cop-out. I truly believe that. I've never been one person to play the victim and point all my mistakes on another race. I'm just not that guy. I'm really not. With that being said, just because you talk about race, ethnicity, religion, demographics, or immigration, whether it's legal or illegal, it doesn't make you racist or anti-Semitic or anti-Mexican or whatever word. Just because you talk about these complex issues and have different policy choices doesn't mean you hate everybody of that race. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want them to build a wall and nobody illegal to come from Mexico, it doesn't mean you hate all Mexicans. That's the biggest lie and the biggest cop-out, and people do this with everything. They do it so much that even though the Trump family has Jewish family, they do a lot for Israel and Jews, they still get smeared as anti-Semitic. And I saw Eric Trump on Twitter today, like, I'm not anti-Semitic. Look at me with Jared Kushner. And it's like, the Trumps are not anti-Semitic. You could call the Trumps a lot of things. Anti-Semitic doesn't make sense. It's an exaggeration. With that being said, you know, I also think this is the important one, is I'm not super ethnocentric. Some people are, and I'm not here to tell you you should or shouldn't be. I don't know who God made you to be. I can't speak for everyone. Myself, I'm just not overly ethnocentric. It's not like a top 15 thing I think about when I talk about myself. It's not in my bio. I don't really care that much personally, but I do notice patterns in the world, and I'm not afraid to talk about statistics and patterns. With that being said, it's always people that are ethnocentric that are always getting upset at me, where their race is in their bio. They make a bunch of organizations about their race, or they talk about their race all the time. All their posts are about their race. And it's like they project their ethnocentricity onto me and act like I have the ethnic pride that they have when I don't. So I find that very hypocritical and annoying. But also I want to say this is when you do something like that, like for example, if you say, I'm a black activist and I'm doing this on behalf of all black people, or I'm Jewish activist and I'm doing this on behalf of all Jews, I think you have even bigger responsibility to be a good person, to be self-aware and to be self-accountable with your energy and who you are, because now you're representing your whole people. And if you're annoying and fake or irrational, it's going to look bad on everybody else. So it's, if I said I'm this thing and I'm fighting for this, and then I start acting crazy, it makes everyone else look bad. So I think that sometimes people that are super prideful with their ethnicity and they say that they represent their ethnicity, a lot of times it seems like no matter what racial group they're in, including my ethnicities, they have this sense of lack of self-accountability and self-awareness where it's like they think that they don't have to be a good person. They think that they don't have to be accurate. They think that they can throw out false accusations and be annoying, and that's okay because they're so righteous because they're fighting for their race. And sometimes some of the racial activists in all groups tend to be the worst people in those ethnicities. And it's like they're almost trying to sabotage their own ethnicity because they're out here being annoying and crazy and unlikable and putting their whole ethnicity on their back. So I just have to say, I don't hate any ethnicity. I don't hate any religion. I don't hate any race. I'm not a hateful person. I'm not an angry person in any sense of the words. I not only do I not preach violence, but I also don't preach hate or anger, which is something that's very rare. You can't find that on the left, the right, and these very few people say don't be angry and don't be hateful. Some people say it's good to be angry. I don't think so. If I thought so, I'd tell you. I really don't think it is. With that being said, I'm not even going to give this person any airtime because there's been multiple people, but there was somebody, a religious leader, I guess I'll just say a rabbi, who tagged me in a CNN post talking about Nick Fuentes, Enrique Tarrio, and the Texas shooter. I'm trying to think because there were two tragedies. There was like the car one and the shooter. And I watched the video, and in the CNN video, they were talking about Enrique Tarrio and Nick Fuentes. I wasn't even mentioned in it, so they tagged me in it, calling me anti-Semitic, but kind of putting me in the same frame as like neo-Nazi. And I'm like, whoa, I'm not even in this video, and I obviously have nothing to do with the Texas shooter. I don't like that stuff at all. That's evil. It's disgusting. I can't stand it. So I'm just like, why is this person trying to drag me into a tragedy? And then I just find the interesting hypocrisy of like, imagine if I blamed an individual for something that someone else did just off their ethnicity. I don't do that. So it's like, because I'm mostly white, if you could tell, and I'm part Puerto Rican. So I've mentioned it a few times, but I'm part Hispanic. So they were basically trying to tie me in ethnically and say, because this evil person did an evil thing and he's going to hell, and he's Hispanic, well, I'm going to drag in Anomaly because he's part Hispanic and show that there's other people out there like this. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not hateful. I'm not violent. I'm not angry. I've never hated anybody. You don't have to like me. You don't have to agree with all of my tweets. You could think that I'm being a little rude or whatever, but you can't tie me to somebody. I mean, I guess I don't know what you're allowed to do, but it's like in general, don't tie me to white supremacy or neo-Nazism, and certainly don't tie me to a violent psychopath that I would never have anything to do with. That's crazy. And, it's like, it's flirting on the lines of insane. So I'm not going to give that much airtime to it because I think the person wants attention. I'm just going to say, God bless him. God bless his family. God bless America. God bless Israel. God bless Palestine. God bless the world. And that's the type of person I am. I don't have time for drama. I don't have time for anger. I don't have the energy to argue with somebody. I don't care if people like my tweets or not, but I'm not any of those things, and I'm not hateful. I've never hated Israel. I've never hated Jews, and the smear attempts against me to tie me to things that have nothing to do with me are ramping up, and it's simply just gross. On that note, I want to say this. One angle that I've noticed is when Israel was being treated horribly, and America was being treated horribly in most of the world, and I don't know if it's millions, but at least hundreds of thousands of Israelis couldn't go to a store or a restaurant, and there was like a vaccine passport. I was actually speaking out for the Israelis who didn't want to be a vaccine experiment. If you want to talk about history, which obviously people do all the time, it's not good to treat Jews in Israel like an experiment for Pfizer. That's insane. So I spoke out about that. And I have hundreds, if not thousands, of supporters in Israel because they know it wasn't their government that was supporting them. It wasn't these activist groups that were supporting them. And to be honest, it wasn't even Republicans who take donor money, who say that they love them so much. Nobody was really there for them because a lot of people just use Jews and use Israel as like a talking point in politics, the same way the left will use black activism and then they get into office and all of a sudden they don't care anymore, or they'll be against the wall until it gets crazy and then they'll adapt Trump's policies. So, thank you to everybody. I don't care what ethnicity you are. I got fans from Nigeria to Israel to America, but I especially appreciate the Jews and Israelis who are standing up for me at this time and righting the wrongs and correcting my false history that people are trying to push because, I know a lot of people do know that I was there to stand up for their human rights when a lot of people weren't. And I found that disgraceful, not just in that country, but all over the world. And with that being said, I think the big thing that people are upset with is when I talk about donor money. And I'm just going to be very clear about this. Maybe people don't watch my show, or maybe they just don't care and they have a disagreement. But, yesterday I criticized Christians. I'm a Christian. Sometimes I criticize myself. I go hard on Republicans. I go harder on Republicans than I do Democrats, and I go harder on Christians than any other religion. I don't hate Christians. I love them. I like to challenge myself and my political party and my religion. I challenge DeSantis today. I challenge Trump all the time. That's just what I do. When it comes to politics, I understand the influence of money and power. This is not a hateful thing. The reason that America is more tight with Saudi Arabia than a different country is because Saudi Arabia has a lot of money and power. They have a lot of oil, and it's more important to have Saudi Arabia on your side than it is to have, Syria on your side per se. So I understand how this stuff works. I understand how certain corporations control certain politicians. Big Pharma donates to Democrats. Big Pharma donates to Republicans. Big Pharma donates to Biden. Big Pharma donates to Trump. That's just how it works. So I'm not anti-pharmatic. I don't hate all pharmacy pills or pharmacy things. I just know that I think that industry has gotten out of control and they control a lot of politics. And with that being said, I understand that there's mega donors in politics. Not all of them are Jewish, not all of them are Muslim, and not all of them are Christian. But when somebody gives hundreds of millions of dollars to somebody and they have certain foreign policy opinions, then that will influence politicians. Like, everybody has something that they're trying to push, and that's all I'm really talking about. When I talk about the government of Israel, I'm not talking about the people of Israel. I love the people of Israel. And to be clear, I don't even hate the government of Israel. I don't hate any government in the world. I disagree with the American government, but I don't hate them. I don't have time for that. I don't think everyone's bad. There's good people and bad people. There's good politicians, bad politicians. There's people that work for intelligence communities that are terrible people. And then there's some good ones that bust a bunch of drug rings and stuff. That's just the reality of how it works. I don't hate anybody, but this conflation that they're trying to make, that because I talk about certain donors and I don't say that everyone's doing it, I just talk about that and what they maybe want out of that transaction, to then say that I hate an entire group of people, it just really hurts my soul because I'm not that person at all. And everybody knows that. I mean, I don't have to sit and grovel for the rest of my life or anything, and I'm not going to. I'm going to continue my job and not give this much airtime. But I just want to correct the record for accurate history, because this clip, you could chop it up, you could put it anywhere, it could live forever. I want to be able to at least speak for myself when others are lying about me. That's it. That's who I am. And, it's like talking about Ukraine. I don't talk about Ukraine more than Poland because I hate Ukraine. It's just like Ukraine is in a war and they have more influence on my country right now. So it's more interesting to talk about. And when I talk about Zionism, I'm not saying people don't have the right to exist. I've never said that. I'm just talking about the influence in American politics. As far as what's going on in Israel, it's not really my scene. And I'm not doing that because I'm a coward or a cop-out. It's just I have enough things to think about when it comes to war and foreign policy that when it comes to Israel-Palestine, I'm not Israeli and I'm not Palestinian. And to be honest, I understand some of what's going on, but I don't. I saw Haaretz, which is a Jewish publication, today. Haaretz posted that Israelis are ignoring the fact that they killed Palestinian children. I didn't say that. I don't come on my show every day and say they're killing Palestinian children. That was Haaretz. That's a Jewish publication talking about that stuff. They go more aggressive at that stuff than I do, and they're based out of Israel. It's like, I don't even talk about this stuff because I have 1,000 things to think about, and I'm actually not obsessed with Israel or Jews, so I don't even mention it. And as far as the conflict, I feel like it's sad, it's unfortunate, but I don't know enough to really take a stance for Palestine or Israel, so I don't. If I really felt strongly, I could take a stand, but it's like, I see the dynamic. It's a really sad thought, but just for the record, I've never said Israel doesn't have the right to exist. Millions of people, hundreds of millions of people believe that. They don't think Israel should exist. Me, I don't know that much about it. I understand the history of the Balfour Declaration, etc., but I understand it's a slippery slope where people could say, well, America shouldn't exist because you took it from them. And it's like, I'm not Israeli. I'm not Palestinian. I'll let you guys figure that out. And I wish the blessings to everybody in that, but it's not a topic that I feel like I can pour all my energy into because I'm more focused on American politics. And if I got upset about every war every day, the Yemen war, the Syria war, this war, I talk about wars, but it's like, I'm only one person. I can't like save the world. I don't have a God complex. I understand that some of this stuff is out of my control. So I try to do the best of my job. So I'm just saying that's who I am for the record, for people that are lying about me. Don't care if people lie to some extent, but you can't be tying me to neo-Nazism, white supremacy, and like some killer. Like, that's kind of crazy. I really just don't appreciate that. And I just would appreciate if people just didn't do that because I'm not that hateful. And I just don't see how it's helping that ethnicity to say these things about me. I'm not a hateful person. Some of the best people in my life have been Jewish that have been kind, generous. I have a lot of Jewish neighbors and friends, and I really just don't appreciate somebody trying to act like I hate all people. This is a really tired narrative. It's like if you disagree with the George Floyd riots, you hate all black people. It's not true. If you want to build a wall, you hate all Mexicans. It's not true. If you talk about the influence of donor money or certain statistics in media ownership and not blame all people, but just notice certain patterns and want to have a conversation about the complexities of certain people having ethnic pride, living in a diverse country that all of these cultures are coming together, it's worth having a conversation about. But someone said it's defamation of character. It's getting really close. This is my understanding, because at the end of the day, you can say someone's racist or anti-Semitic. I mean, I don't think you should and lie about people, but when you start to bring in certain groups and label it that way, I believe it is flirting on the lines of defamation and libel. And this is something that I'm only being dragged into because I'm part Hispanic, and I'm not playing the victim because, there's going to be people who hate me because I'm mostly white too. And I'm not crying about it or anything, but it's like, if I wasn't part Hispanic, I wouldn't have even been posted in that. They're trying to drag me into this because a Hispanic person did something evil and insane. And now they're like, well, this guy is also part Hispanic. And that's just the truth. I'm not crying about it. It's just like, that's why I was dragged into that thing, which is the exact type of energy that this guy claims he doesn't want, is you blaming everybody for the actions of one person. It's insane. But, I'm not an overly litigious person. I'm just going to pray for this person, pray for their healing, and hope that they have a beautiful life and, move on to things that are productive. But, it's definitely like flirting on the lines of insane, and it's just unfortunate. But that's just something that happens when you're a public figure, and it is what it is. I'm all love, I'm all peace, and I just want to make that very clear, that I also want people to just leave everyone alone, mind your business, go about your day, and don't worry about me. I'll be fine. The only thing I could say is I do appreciate when people just defend me peacefully, honestly, accurately, and with love. I appreciate that. It doesn't matter, but especially like, Israelis and Jews that know these people, where it's like, you can let them know that that's not who I am. But anyone, it doesn't really matter. I'm just saying, it's like, it's just getting a little weird. Let me see. Someone said they were going to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I remember those were the dreams, right? I want to teach the world to live in perfect harmony. Someone said nobody is really full-blooded. I'm not I have 4 different ethnicities. For the record, I'm Polish, Italian, Czechoslovakian, Puerto Rican. I don't have the energy to be that ethnically prideful about any of those, because I'm 4 things at once. So I see the pros and cons in certain cultures, certain foods, certain ideas, but I don't have time to hate somebody. God didn't put me here to be like, oh, I hate everybody in that. It's weakness. That's weakness. I've never been that person. I don't like being painted that way, but it's just part of being a public figure, I guess. It's just like, it's one thing to disagree with me. It's another thing to try to tie me to like a psychotic, violent tragedy. But like I talked about too earlier this week with Tim Pool and Libs of TikTok, they already did that. Like they're like, look, Libs of TikTok and Tim Pool. It's like you're saying a neo-Nazi that killed somebody liked a Jewish woman. Libs of TikTok is a Jewish woman. It doesn't matter, but it kind of does. Where it's like, why are you dragging her into this? I understand that they found that, but like Tim Pool, they're putting Tim Pool on thumbnails and stuff, and it's like, dude, it's some really dark stuff. It feels like they use tragedies. When tragedies happen, they try to tie everybody to it. And that's like the new game that the media is playing. Is like, well, they were watching Tim Pool. It's like, I don't even like Tim Pool, but Tim Pool gets hundreds of millions of views. So of course someone's going to watch him. Like Drake, what if someone did something bad and had Drake on his playlist? Like, you know, at a certain point when you're a superstar, everybody has seen your stuff. Like if someone does something and watched CNN and Fox News, it's like, I'm sorry, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. They are an entertainment program that people watch. Yes, everyone should be responsible for their words, but you can't control crazy people, left wing, right wing, any race. Like some people are crazy. Some people are jacked up off meds. And that's their new little game, is to like try to act like words are violence when someone does something bad, to blame the words of somebody else that has nothing to do with it. I see through the deception, and it's just annoying. But, you know, it's all about the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. So, you know, I have to be conscious myself to just remember that, you know, because at the end of the day, I try to be who I want people to be towards me. So when bad things happen and it's a left-wing person, I'm not out here blaming all left-wingers, but some people do that. Like, for example, I just want to talk about that trans shooter real quick. When the trans shooter happened, a lot of right-wing accounts were like, this is an epidemic of trans shooters, and you don't have to like trans kids. You don't have to like the transgender movement. You don't have to do anything. I'm not your daddy. I'm just saying. But like to act like now there's this pandemic of like trans shooters everywhere, like that's as disingenuous as like when the left does that. Yes, that happens. It's not the first time, but it's not like all over the place all the time. Like that's just what the right does. And then the left does that when a white kid does it, or the left does that when it's a Hispanic shooter. Now he's tied to Tim Pool. Like this is just the games that people play. And I just try to never do that. On another note, you know, I never cared about the manifesto of the transgender person who shot people, but like now that they're blaming a bunch of right wingers and trying to tie people into it that have nothing to do with it, I am curious of like, why haven't they released that? Like who did they like? You know, I'm not going to blame the people they liked, but it's just weird that when someone that's more left wing and more into the rainbow stuff does something, they keep it under wraps. And when someone on the other side does something, or that's like far out there, then they start tying Libs of TikTok. And, you know, I find that very bizarre, and trying to drag me into it. I find it very interesting. It seems not random. Super chat from Cole C said the better move would be to start a stream with open chat, promote the membership, and halfway through switch to members only chat. Enjoy your work. Let me know what you guys think, because on YouTube I did members only. I like the members only because you got to understand there's hundreds of people watching on Facebook too. So sometimes the chat is just so spammy. And here's what I'll say too. I don't mind edgy comments. I'm not going to call you like, oh, you're so bad. I understand that some people say stuff that I don't agree with, but it was just too much spam. You know what I'm saying? That was the problem with YouTube. When it's open, people come in and spam. At least now they're not distracting me from seeing all the other comments. And if people want to spam like that, they could pay to do that. You know, it deters a lot of the people who just kind of add no value. I don't mind if you say something that I don't agree with, but if you're just like spamming it over and over, it just kind of gets annoying. I don't care if I agree with you or disagree with you, you know? That's how I feel. I'm going to answer a few more. I'm going to hang out for like 10 more minutes, but I appreciate you guys and thank you so much. I put in a lot of work these last, I would say 7-8 years. It's been mostly amazing. You know, everything comes at a cost. If you're an MMA superstar, you make a lot of money, but you also have to break bones and stuff. So I'm in no way, shape, or form a victim. This is what happens when you're a public figure and a musician. But it seems like the smear attempts against me have ramped up to like an extreme amount. And I appreciate people that support me, show love, and just rewrite or write history properly and undo the rewriting of it, of like trying to paint me as this crazy person. I don't ever preach hate. I don't ever preach anger. I don't ever preach negativity like that. I just have certain opinions about donor money and like other things. Like that's really it. Let me see. It's gotten crazy with spam. I like this method, said Trisha. I think it's working well. Do I think the CNN was a show? Yeah, Don, if you just came, I'm going to rehash it real quick. It absolutely was. Trump said, I'm going to read Trump's truth real quick. He said yesterday, I'm going to do it in the Trump voice. Please don't get mad if you like Trump. It's just funnier that way. I'll be doing CNN tomorrow night live from the great state of New Hampshire because they are rightfully desperate to get those fantastic Trump ratings once again. They made me a deal I couldn't refuse. Could it be the beginning of a new and vibrant CNN with no more fake news? Or it could be a disaster for all, including me. Let's see what happens Wednesday night at 8 p.m. So Trump is saying he made a deal with CNN. What's the deal? I can't get into the specifics because I don't know what the paperwork or what their handshake deal was. But based on watching it, my analysis, which is going to be more accurate than most because I'm just telling the truth, it seemed like the deal was Trump gets a fair shake, Trump gets an applause, Trump gets an audience that's either neutral or pro-Trump, not just like a CNN handpicked audience like they would have done in times past. Trump looks like a good guy, or they at least like give him somewhat of an even playing field that's at least somewhat better than what they would have done. And then what does CNN get out of that deal? Nobody likes CNN. CNN gets Trump's ratings. CNN gets Trump's golden Midas touch. CNN gets getting Trump supporters to watch. And CNN is attempting to rebrand itself. They need to rebrand. Rachel Maddow is psychotic, but she has an audience. Fox News has an audience. Newsmax has an audience. CNN, they're kind of left out when it comes to like who they are. Like they're not MSNBC. They're not Fox News, but they don't like, the left doesn't really like CNN that much. The right doesn't like CNN at all. So they're bringing Trump in to try to resurrect their business. It absolutely is a show. And Trump is basically saving CNN, in my opinion, for the trade-off of them giving him favorable coverage to help him win the election. It's an interesting deal. Some will say it's unethical because you're helping CNN. Others will say it's a chess move. They rub your back, you'll rub theirs. It's interesting stuff, but yeah, it's absolutely a show. But from what I've seen, once again, Trump looked fine there. I thought he answered the questions I saw well. And, people who like DeSantis are like, oh my gosh, he did so bad. And it's like, not really. And then when like DeSantis does something, people who like Trump are like, DeSantis, Florida sucks. And it's like, dude, people act like children. It's so sad. Everybody acts like children. It's like, if you like Trump and DeSantis does something cool, you can say that. It's not like you're at a lunch table with Johnny and Susie, like with your little oh, well, why did he get Dunkaroos? I only got Apple and Eve. I don't know. You got an apple. Your mom wants you to eat healthy. Just shut up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everyone's got to be like, oh, like, it's cringe. Everybody, just be like, just call it like you see it. No one can do that anymore. Everyone's got to act like crazy. It's wild. Someone said, I don't like bacon, but I like ribs so we could get along. Why are people like fantasizing over pork and bacon in the comments? They're like, you remind me of like Homer Simpson when he's like, donuts. I'm like, are you having your own show in the comment section? It's fine. I don't need attention. I'm like, hey, pay attention to me. It's like, Anomaly, you're awesome, but you're not bacon. So it's true. Someone said Trump used his strong points tonight. From what I saw, it looked good. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw clips, but I saw clips that people were like, see, I'm like, obviously you could always play like, oh, he could have done that better or worse, but he didn't. It looked fine. I think CNN cut a deal with him where it's like, we'll go easy on you. You give us your attention. I don't think I would do that, but I don't know. At the end of the day, it would be nice if CNN stopped being so crazy and the left stopped being so crazy. That would be good for the country, like if people just chilled out a little bit. I just don't know that that's going to happen. But this is, even with the situation I just talked to, I responded, but then I'm like thinking to myself, it's like misery loves company sometimes. Some people just want to argue. Like, I don't have time for drama. If someone wants to argue and be annoying, it's like, God bless you and God bless your family. Like, I'm 33 years old. I'm not even that old, but it's like, there's things that I want to do. I don't have time to like do that. But, for some reason, this whole country is just like always fighting with each other all the time. Like, how do people have time to do that? I don't understand. Someone said, who is Polish in my background? My grandfather is Polish. Someone said, I feel like Trump does things for the utilitarian. I'm voting for the Republican nominee. I'm not like a one-trick pony, but the Democrats, I don't trust them. I don't like what they're doing with the legal system. They've gone too far. They're doing too much. They can't tell the truth about basic issues. I'm voting for the Republican. Right now, if the election were tomorrow, it's not, so it doesn't matter, but we'll see what happens between Trump and DeSantis. I want to challenge them. I like that RFK is challenging them. I've said this multiple times. I think we need to challenge them, but outside of that, people are going to see, and then you're going to watch people be like, look, Anomaly changed his tune. Not really. Like, I've been this person. Yeah, I've evolved. I didn't know things when I was like 25, but if you go to like 5 years ago, I always called it like I saw it about Trump and DeSantis. It's just when Trump spiraled, I just disagreed. And when he does something right, I'm like, that's right. I'm not the type of person that's like, wrong is right, right is wrong, up is down, down is up, socialism's capitalism when my guy does it. I'm just not that guy. I'll never be that guy. I can't be that guy. I don't know why so many people are acting like they're that guy. That's kind of just where I'm at. So I have no problem showing love to Trump or DeSantis if they do the right thing and challenging them when I disagree in a productive manner. I'm trying to be productive. I'm not E. Jean Carroll. I'm not CNN before Trump did a deal with them. I'm not here to drag the Trump family name. I think Trump is an American icon. I think his sons do well. Like, I'm not here to smear them with false claims or like 30-year-old stories. Like, that's not what I'm here for. I just don't want America to be locked down again and be poor. And when it comes to foreign politics and stuff, it's not like I hate another country. It's like, just to give you an example, I've talked to somebody where they're like, I wish they're Israeli, and they're like, I wish Israel didn't grovel so much to the U.S. That doesn't mean they hate the U.S. That just means that they like Israel more than the U.S., so they want their country to favor themselves. And you're allowed to disagree with your country doing foreign things like, oh, yeah, we're friends with America, but you're doing too much. That's my whole stance. It's like, I don't hate the country. It's just like sometimes we're just doing too much. I don't believe in speech laws, and I think that speech laws raise tension. And if we're going to live in a country that's supposed to be the land of the free, you can't have certain rules for certain people. I don't understand that. That's basic Americanism, but whatever. Someone said you're not here to just own the libs. Not really, no. I mean, they're funny to make fun of sometimes, but I want to heal the libs. I want the libs to wake up. I think a lot of them, it's like a circus. And this is like energetically, I could even just feel it. Sometimes it's like you're just feeding the beast and it's growing. Sometimes it's okay to just step to the side and like, it's like sometimes both sides, they like it. They want it. It's like, ha, ha, ha. Sometimes you just stand to the side and it's like you see things more clearly and you don't have to agree with them, but it's like, I'm not going to argue with this person for 10 years on loop on Twitter. I'm just not going to do that. I really believe that a lot of Republican issues, are winnable. I think they're winnable. If you just stick to the issues, if you don't act too crazy, like if Trump, and I'm not telling him not to be funny, but like whether people like what I say or not, I believe it. Trump needs to stop with like the Bill Barr, DeSantis, like, dude, stop. You know what I'm saying? We can win the border issue. We can win the Democrat failure city issue. We can win the sexualization of kids issue. What they're doing in schools is crazy. These are all issues that most Americans outside of the Trump-Biden paradigm, they all agree with. If you go to, I follow a lot of sports pages like Bleacher Report. If you go to, or Memes are just basic like normie meme pages. Most people agree with Republicans on this issue. They just don't like the whole circus of it. But if you take the circus out of it and just say the issue clearly with integrity, people will start to vote for you and get on your side. Like, Trump needs to stop with this true social rehashing. Like, we get it. You don't like Bill Barr, but you hired Bill Barr. It's your fault. Do a better job next time. Stop. How many times are you going to cry about Bill Barr on True Social? It's very annoying, and I think he's like, when Trump is on point, he is actually likable. It's just like when he just like runs in circles around his own interests, it's just annoying. So I don't want Republicans to lose the election. I'm saying this stuff because I feel like we try to act like everything we do is good, and it's not. It's like, oh, that's a good idea because I like them. It's not a good idea. You think it's a good idea because you're obsessed with them, but somebody that doesn't like him doesn't think it's a good idea, and somebody on the fence also doesn't think it's a good idea. So, yes, you like it, but most people don't. And in order to win the election, most people, or some people, have to wake up. We can win these issues. I'm telling you, when they do like WNBA, like feminist stuff, everybody in the comment section of normal pages agrees with conservatives. When they do sexualization of children stuff, everybody in the comments, or 80 to 90%, they agree with conservatives on non-conservative pages. That's why Matt Walsh's What is a Woman documentary did so well, because a lot of people around the world agree with him. They just they're not like out there screaming about it all the time, and they're not so like aggressive and like, it's not their whole life, but they watch it and they're like, no, that makes sense. That's a little too much. So I think at the end of the day, like, we actually do have the truth on our side with a lot of issues if we play it cool and just attack it. So we can't do this like circus thing all the time. Like that's not playing into our advantage, in my view. Do I like DeSantis? I like a lot of things about him. I'm not sure if I like the E-Verify. I'm not sure that I like certain laws that he passes, but I think he's definitely one of the standouts. And I'll say this analysis-wise, because I think this is true, whether people want to give me credit or not. The reason that DeSantis went from here to almost equal with Trump, I know he's not now, but the reason he even got close is because for 3 years, Donald Trump was off his game. For 3 years, Donald Trump was selling his vaccine. For 3 years, Donald Trump was talking about himself. And in those 3 years, Americans were being oppressed, and Trump acted like an elitist who really didn't care that much. So DeSantis started, whether he really cares or not, started talking about what people cared about. He spent, he would do like 30 press conferences on vaccine passports where Trump would briefly mention it after he sold his product for 5 minutes. So to understand the Trump and DeSantis, in my view, the reason that DeSantis got so close to Trump is because he became the person Trump used to be. He became the more authentic person. He became the more honest person, and Trump was off his game. So do I like DeSantis? Somewhat. I mean, I'm not going to run to like a rock concert featuring him, but yeah, I like the fact that he actually gets stuff done. I like the fact that he doesn't make a whole scene about it. To me, this is just my analysis. Trump talks like he's going to do all this stuff and then does like half of it. DeSantis doesn't do that. He just does it and then does a press conference on it and then moves on. I think DeSantis understands the media cycle. I think DeSantis understands this stuff. And to me, Trump is like a showman. Like, he wants CNN to like him. He wants to talk about it for 3 months. It's like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you talk about deporting people. Are you going to deport them or not? Like, the talking means nothing. So personally, I like the talk about it one time, do it, and then talk about it another time and then move on. I think Trump talks about things more than he does things. I think DeSantis does things more than he talks about things. That's just my analysis. Do I, I like certain aspects of Trump. I like certain aspects of DeSantis, but I like DeSantis more than most Trump supporters do. And I would say I think Trump is basically accusing DeSantis of doing things that he also did. And once again, instead of trying to win the election, Trump is like putting people in a goofy loop of like him trying to smear DeSantis with things that aren't really, like, they don't even make sense. Like, to me, it's like, it's a game to him. Someone said I'm liking Vivek Ramaswamy. My soul, and I'm not saying anything about him because I don't want to overstep, but my heart, my mind, and my soul is telling me to not give that guy attention. I've never talked about him. It's like I'm running for office now. Everybody has to interview me and listen to me. Something's telling me not. I've seen some clips of him where I wasn't feeling the vibe. It seems like one of those people that, and then Trump, like True Socialed about him, like Vivek Ramaswamy's doing a good job, unlike DeSantis. To me, something just seems like a little forced and fake there. But, you know, God bless the guy. A lot of people seem to think he's interested and like him. To me, I get like a salesman just like pop up, give me attention, everybody listen to me. Now you want me on the podcast, right? Because I'm running for office. Like, no, I still don't want to listen to you. I still don't care. But maybe that'll change. Maybe he'll say something that really gains my interest or, you know, passion. But for now, I've been just like, I haven't seen a single thing from him that makes me want to talk about him, listen to him, vote for him. That's just my intuition. We'll see. Who do I support? I like Thomas Massey, but it's not a sports game, you know? I don't know. I do news analysis. I'm an American citizen. I'm a voter. Every time I go into the voting booth, it's me in the voting booth. It's not Thomas Massey. It's not Ron DeSantis. It's not Donald Trump. You understand? I make the decisions of what I want to do. So I could say I like this person or I vote for this person, but who do I support? I don't know. I support the Constitution. I support America. I support God. I try to support myself. I try to support humanity. I'm not like in the bag for anybody. I want to be free to speak the truth, which most people aren't. Like DeSantis and Trump supporters both act like children. It's like if Trump does something good, DeSantis people won't tell the truth about it. When DeSantis does better than Trump at a lot of things, Trump just tricks people into thinking he's not doing it. And it's a joke to me. I'm not that person. So if the election were tomorrow, I'd probably vote for DeSantis over Trump tomorrow. But a lot of things are going to change. I think DeSantis has a better chance of winning. I personally think DeSantis will do almost all the same things Trump will do. And I've watched how Trump governs and operates, and I just don't really trust him to actually get stuff done. But maybe he will. And if he wins the nominee, I hope he wins the election, and I hope he does get stuff done. Based on how he acts, I just don't trust it. That's my personal opinion. And a lot of stuff too, I've brought this up one time, and this bothers people, but it's just American history, so deal with it. You know, when you look at the judges that Trump put in, Clarence Thomas and Sam Alito are more conservative than all three of them, especially Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. Yes, they overturned Roe versus Wade, but besides that, I'm not really a fan of their voting record. I don't even think Amy Coney Barrett or Brett Kavanaugh are that great of choices. I think Alito is better, and I think Clarence Thomas is better. Clarence Thomas was put in by George Bush. Alito was put in, I think, by Bush Jr. I don't like the Bushes, but it's like all these accomplishments Trump has. It's not like no Republican's ever done something. Everybody likes Clarence Thomas. George Bush put him in. This is not an endorsement of George Bush, but even rhinos make good judge decisions sometimes. It's just true. So like, I'm just like, I look at the cabinet he chose and I'm just like, I'm not impressed. I'm not like, do I think the cabinet Trump had in 2017 is way above, you know, DeSantis's pay grade? I don't. I really don't. I think DeSantis will probably hire better people, more outsiders. Maybe he won't though. I don't know. I'm not really that invested in like believing that it's going to happen. But if as a voter, I think DeSantis governs better. I think he's better on big pharma. I think he's proven that he could hire more outsiders like Joseph Ladapo, the Surgeon General. And I think he's more pragmatic. And I think he's a way better option in the general election. And I think it just ends this goofy loop. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's like, we're going to run it back now, Trump and Biden for 8 years and vaccines. And it's like, it's just like America's stuck. We're supposed to have like Jetson technology and we're stuck in like a vaccine loop. And I'm not saying it's all Trump's fault. I'm just saying like, when I compare the pros and the cons to both, the only thing that I actually think Trump would be significantly better on is foreign policy. I think Trump edges DeSantis on foreign policy with the chance that DeSantis could be the same or close. Everything else, I just don't think, I'm not that impressed as far as like versus DeSantis. Including all the Karl Rove connections. It's like Trump also has them. Like, you know, he just tricked people into thinking he also didn't work with that guy, which he had advisors work with him on his 2020 campaign. It's just the truth. So That's my opinion though. I just hope people stop acting so childish. That's it. Sometimes I get upset. Sometimes I make jokes about it. Today I'm feeling calm and chill. You get what I'm saying? I just want people to stop acting so childish. I want people to stop fighting. I want people to stop lying when their guy does something. Like, people got to stop that. I don't understand why so many people do it. It seems like a show. Like, there's just so much programming going into all of this stuff where it's like, a lot of people have lost their ability to critically think, and a lot of people are stuck. A lot of people on the left are stuck. A lot of people on the right are stuck. And I'm just tired. I feel like I'm not buying the narrative that Trump is saying about DeSantis, personally. I mean, maybe like 3 out of 10 things he says, but a lot of the things he says, he also does. So it's like, just be honest about it. Dawn said, you are the one to complicate us all. You talk in a drone, not impressed, so childish. I don't know. I just think you're mad at me because I don't agree with you on like that, which is fine. But I'm not, doesn't matter. If you like Trump more than I do, that's fine. All I'm asking is for people not to act childish. But if you think I act childish, I mean, you could say that. Sometimes I make jokes and I do act kind of childish, but I write it off as comedy. Am I right, folks? Someone said no new wars with Trump. Foreign policy is a strong port, no doubt. Let me see. Lakiva with a super chat said, is our money being hijacked and sent to Kiev to be ripped off like our 401ks and social broken contract? No, I'm not. What, maybe it got cut off what you're saying, but I'm not following. Are you asking me that? I think that we're sending a lot of money to Ukraine, and I'm not really pumped about it. And I do think that some of it's probably being funneled to somewhere else. So is that what you're asking? I don't know. Someone said, I like turtles. They are great animals. They're cute. They're slow on land, but they're fast in water. Turtles are not slow. There's a life lesson I'm about to give. I was in the ocean one time in Hawaii, and I saw a turtle, and it looked at me, and I was like, whoa. And then it just jetted off going really fast. And I had an epiphany. I was like, turtles are fast in the water. Everybody says a turtle's slow because it's on land. It's like, that's not its forte. So, it's like judging a non-climbing animal by how good it climbs. So turtles have a bad rap for being slow. They're not slow. They're fast. It's just they're fast in the ocean. There's something there that can translate to other parts of life. Someone said, I think they're saying BlackRock's funding the Ukraine war. I don't know if BlackRock's funding it, but I know that BlackRock is going to get a multi-hundred billion, nearly $1 trillion contract to rebuild Ukraine. So, if something gets destroyed in war and someone comes along to rebuild it to the tune of like $900 billion, do you get what I'm saying? That's huge business. Think about what Big Pharma does to make money. Think about what the military industrial complex has done to make money. Think about what everyone does to make money. And then tell yourself, if there's a contract that you could get for $900 billion, do you think that there possibly could be a little bit of corruption involved in that? Because if, that doesn't happen, then you don't have that $900 billion contract. I'm not saying anything besides that. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money to go around. There's people that rob a 7-Eleven for $300. You think that someone wouldn't do something for $900 billion? And, this is why a lot of politics, there's a lot on the line. There's a lot at stake. That's why it gets so heated and people get so upset, because it's not like, oh, you like Trump or you like DeSantis or you like Thomas Massey. It's like if people woke up, certain people could lose trillions of dollars, or, it's a lot on the line. But the problem is when they don't think about everyone. When you're leading a country, you should have your citizens in mind. You can't just like scam everyone all the time and expect people to think it's cool. Like, at a certain point, we got to stop. Here's another angle to it, though, that people don't really want to talk about. This is my ultimate, and that's why it's so bizarre when people smear me, because I really am someone who doesn't play the victim. Even as a citizen, I'm not a victim to any government. I'm not a victim to any political party or any race or religion. I don't consider myself a victim. And a lot of stuff that happens, I believe it happens because of us. For example, if we can't even stop fighting on Twitter, if we can't even stop fighting on Facebook, if we can't even stop fighting on Instagram, if people can't even stop fighting on the streets of Los Angeles, why are our politicians going to stop fighting? Everyone says, well, there shouldn't be a war. Why are we at war? I don't know. Why is everyone at war? Some people are at war with themselves. Some people are at war with their family. Some people are at war metaphorically with, people like everybody. This is just how it is. Like, I don't want war. I don't want people to die. I don't want war. I wish I could like wave a magic wand and Israel and Palestine are happy. And you know what I'm saying? Everyone's holding hands, like laughing, eating food, but that's not the world we live in. So I feel like, everybody wants to be like, well, why aren't they stopping? It's like, well, why aren't you stopping? If left wingers and right wingers are hysterically fighting on Twitter every single day, how do we expect the elites to stop fighting? That's why we have to lead by example. If you lead by example, then you could go, well, you should do that too. But if we can't even do that, then how are they going to do that? That's why I always say with America, sometimes I'm a little too harsh and I wish I could word it better, but we got to change ourselves. I think that Trump and Biden is really like a false paradigm where it's like Biden objectively sucks and I'm not going to vote for him. But so many people think that they're just going to waste 10 years running a circle, doing this and that. And at the end of the day, it's like, we need to heal ourselves. We need to fix ourselves. Like when enough people do that, the country will change. We can't just turn on a television and expect everyone to solve all our problems if we're not even willing to solve our own problems. So that's just how I see it. It's like the world is complex, and just like people in the streets do crazy stuff, so do the elites. Someone said, I'm still waiting for Hillary to go to prison and Biden sucks so hard. I don't know what Republicans are doing, but today I think they came out and said that they had proof that Biden was like taking money through his family, through shell companies. And it's like, okay, so then what? I'm not saying I know what to do. I'm not saying I know how they should do something, but I've just lost interest in Republicans because I'm just like, okay, you have this proof. Good job. What are you going to do about it? Nothing? No, I got to watch television and watch Donald Trump get yelled at by some lady like who looks crazy. Like, I don't know. Like they keep charging him for things that are such a reach, but you guys have all this info on Joe Biden and nothing can be done. Like, I don't know. I'm not a doomer and I'm not a pessimist. I'm just like, I just see it kind of like a theater now. Someone asked if the CNN Trump thing was a theater. Absolutely. It was a theater that benefits both sides. It's Trump gets more good coverage from Democrats. Democrats get more ratings from Trump. Trump gets a fair shake for the first time from CNN. CNN gets his audience and gets to rebrand as moderate. It is a show. It's a deal. They did a deal. It's not even like a secret deal. Trump said, I did a deal with CNN. You got to like that he at least posted that on True Social. It's like, yeah, I did a deal with them. And then I'll say that and people will be like, oh, Anomaly just hates Trump. Like, he said he did a deal. I'm just reading it. It's like, he'll be like, it's my vaccine. And I'm like, yo, Trump, it's Trump's vaccine. They're like, oh, why do you call it Trump's vaccine? Because he calls it his? I don't know. Like, did I make that up? No, he says that all the time. I'm just repeating it. Someone said California used to use it until they decided they wanted to employ illegals. It's not a new thing. You talking about E-Verify? Someone said verify identity to work is how it starts. It's right up your alley if you need this to work. Sounds like the light version of the mark. At the end of the day, this is my thoughts on all that. I agree with Thomas Massey, honestly. I disagree with DeSantis, but the technology is pretty much there. There's technology to control people. They've already done crazy stuff with the lockdown. It's up to people to just basically, just resist and say no when the tyranny comes. That's just what it's going to come down to. Whether it's E-Verify, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram or Twitter, it's like they have it. They have all that stuff. They could get more, but it's going to be up to us to just turn it down when that time comes. That's just what it is. Enough people have to. I don't know if people will, though. The 2020 and 2021 was a crazy time. I was shocked by how many people were like, okay. But then again, there were states that weren't doing it, or weren't doing it as much. Someone said, oh, it's so late for us oldies. Appreciate you, Barb. We love oldies here. We love boomers. We love Gen what's the generation before boomers? We like everybody. We like our veterans. We appreciate you. If it's too late, you know, you could always turn it off, and it's all good. Appreciate you though. I'm having a chill time, so I'm gonna read a few more, then I'll roll out. I want to say a few things real quick. Once again, thank you for everybody showing love. Also, just a few links if you want. I'm gonna throw these in here, and then I'm gonna get back to the live stream. Thanks, Barb. Appreciate it. Good night. God bless. Dreamrare.com is my shop. We have these beanies. We have Made in America shirts. And I'm good for now, but I'm going to be honest, these last couple of months have been a little wild. Things are shifting, but also, you know, when people smear me, I'm not really that concerned with it right now, but you know, I don't have that many sponsors, but when I ever do, they'll use these things as ways to like try to, you know, shut my show down or get me censored or take away the sponsors. So that's why it's so great that people support on dreamrare.com, because I own it. It's made in America, and it's a way that I can generate revenue outside of big tech and outside of, you know, other sponsors. So thank you to everybody checking out dreamrare.com. We have signed hats, a couple still available. We have beanies. We have Big Farmer, not Big Pharma shirts. We have God is Great sweatshirts. They're extremely comfortable. If you buy one, you'll see for yourself. Streamrare.com. This is me and Bobby Sauce created a website. It's called Streamrare, STREAMRARE. I'm trying to start our own media company. We're trying to write better articles, stuff that I enjoy, more positive or interesting stuff. I did a 5 geoengineering and weather modification list. I'm, you know, doing journalism now. So check out streamrare.com. And for any of my other links, just check out dreamrarelinks.com. I have a song with the band Trapped. It's called Come Together. And for the longest time, it wasn't coming up on my artist profile because I was only a featured artist instead of a main artist. But this week, it's on my main page now. So if you go to my Spotify page, you'll see my top song is Come Together with Trapped. It's got 3.5 million streams, which is amazing. So it's always had that, but it just wasn't coming up on my profile. So I'm pumped that that's there. And, you know, now it looks a lot more sleek. I look like a big deal now. But yeah, check that song out and stuff. Appreciate you guys. Back to the show. Someone said, love the sauce. Bobby's cool, man. He's a good guy. He does good web stuff. He does good social stuff, and he's just a good guy. We agree a lot of stuff, and we have similar energy. We're super chill, so it works out. I'm super pumped about it, and I'm glad that we worked it out. You know, he's been facing stuff too. I've just seen on his social media because, you know, he's not one of these influencers that's just like Trump, 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 Trump. He has his own thoughts about it. And, you know, people get really upset. Most people agree, but it's like, that's the world we live in now, where it's like, if you come along and say, hey, here's some ideas I have to win over, because you got to understand too, not everybody is just like all in on Trump, right? So if you are just like in his world, everything he says is right, you make excuses for the wrong things, everything's the plan. That's the world you live in, but there still are 100 million people like the Joe Rogans, the Elon Musks, the moderate voters, the people that just watch TV, watch movies, watch sports, and they don't care about politics because they find it to be a drain, but they don't like Biden and they don't like Trump and they're not that interested, but they could be won very quickly. And whether people want to hear what me, Bobby, and Bobby has his own stuff. Like we have different ideas, like he does his thing, I do mine. But in general, it's worth considering what we're saying, whether you agree with it or not, because at the end of the day, like the people that get really mad are the people that are in Trump world. But if Trump wants to win the election, he can't just get Trump world voters and nobody else. He's got to win back some suburban moms. He's got to win back some of the youth. Like it's possible to do. We can win this. We can convince people that we're right, but we can't do it by only appealing to that. That's just not true. You know, it's like, for example, it's like if you guys know who Bad Bunny is, he's like a Puerto Rican Spanish artist who's like one of the biggest artists in the world. If I came to you and I said, hey, you're doing a good job, but if you collaborate with Bad Bunny, you know, like Hispanics are going to love your music more. And then you're like, oh, no, they already like me. I don't need to do it. It's like, I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying it's like a thought, you know, that is what they like. This is outside of the election, but I'm just using it as like an example of like, no, that's just like objectively how marketing works and how politics work. If you do a song with Bad Bunny, you're going to get like 1 billion new people listening to you because he's the biggest thing like ever in the Spanish world. That's just true. It doesn't mean you don't have to do it, maybe you don't ethically agree with him, or it's not your style, but you can't just tell me no because I'm right. Like, that will help you to some sort of large extent. So that's a lot of what the voters are doing. It's like Trump just does Trump, and everyone's like, no, we don't need to approve. We don't need to get anybody on our side. We're going to win. And if we don't win, it was stolen. And it's like, I hear what you're saying, but it's like we can't just play the eternal victim. You can double task. You can talk about paper ballots like Trump did a good job of on CNN. I thought he answered that question, honestly, very well. I wasn't like, oh, he sucked. I was like, that was a good answer. We can do that, and at the same time pick up. You can't just do that and say you don't need anyone else because it's just stolen. If not, it's like, if Trump really thought he had no chance of winning, he wouldn't run. He wouldn't run if he knows he has a chance of winning. He knows he can get enough votes, and he knows that it's kind of rigged, but not rigged enough where he doesn't want to run. He's running for a reason. He thinks he could win. Talk about the ballots. Talk about one-day voting. Talk about cleaning up the voter rolls, but don't just do 100% of that and not appeal to independents and moderates, because Trump people want to hear that. Most people don't care. That's just the truth. It's like if I was talking about the Beatles to a bunch of kids who wanted to listen to freaking My Chemical Romance, they don't want to hear the Beatles. That's just the truth. So it's like, I can't go to a millennial concert and just talk about them all. You get what I'm saying? It's like, it's just how it works. You can't be a one-trick pony on that. And that could be true to me too. Sometimes I talk about certain things a lot where it's like, yeah, I mean, at a certain point, there's the old saying, beating a dead horse, where it's like, there's got to be craftier ways to work this into to my philosophy rather than just repeating the same thing over and over. Sometimes it does work, though. Repetition works. Other times could be better. Someone said Trump wasn't for the NWO climate stuff. He says he's going to drill oil. I think it looks good on that side of things. He definitely caved to the globalist pharmacy product, which isn't too impressive. But yeah, if he drills for oil and ramps up our energy production, that would be good. I hope he wins, over Biden. But in the primary, I don't know, man. I just don't. I want him to get challenged, and I don't fully trust it. But yeah, I think that he does a good job in that department for sure. Someone said the stuff at the border has been going on for years, and nobody besides some Republicans have been willing to abide by our current immigration laws. Yeah, and I read a thing that Biden actually is going to go back to a Trump era policy because he's even overwhelmed. So it's like all this talk about how bad Trump is, and then they just do the same thing. This is what Democrats do because they're so fake. It's like they lie about things, they call it racist, everything gets out of control, then they bring in the National Guard, or they do exactly what Trump or someone would have done, or something. It's like, oh, it's so bad to do that. Then what's your solution? Turn everything into San Francisco, Los Angeles? Like, objectively, your way of running a society is failing because you're so fake. It's not like, I think Biden's going to go with some of the Trump policy now at the border, which is a good thing if he does it. It doesn't mean I'm going to vote for him, but it's good. I don't want him to let millions of people in. They're still going to blow it, but it's like, if he'll adopt the Trump policy, do it, dude. But we have every right to be like, Biden for 3 years, like, the games that they play, you listen to Karine Jean-Pierre, she's like, all right, like, isn't that what Trump did? No, it's not really that different. You just have to brand it as different because you guys are embarrassed to do the same thing that Republicans do. Like, this is the conversation I'm trying to have with everyone. Let's just stop fighting and playing. Like, it's just so embarrassing. Like, secure the border. Stop pretending like you don't want to. You do want to. You know that it's not good. And as soon as Republicans, part of me wishes they would just not do this, but I get the chess move of it. They're starting to send them to Democrat states. Look at Eric Adams. He's overwhelmed. Eric Adams is freaking out. This is a crisis. Yeah, bro, they sent 10,000 and you're crying. Could you imagine being Arizona or Texas? I think it's smarter to just deport people than to send them to Democrat areas. But if you're forced with these two decisions, send them to a Democrat area or let them stay in Texas. I get the chess move. It's unfortunate. It turns out to be ugly and weird, but it's a necessary evil to fix it. Because, like, really, this, in my head, And I have to preface this with, I love all people. There's a lot of great illegals in this country that are great people, nonviolent, that do a lot of great stuff. I'm not a hateful person, whether you're legal or illegal. But the truth is, in my head, it's like, send them to other states, send them to Democrat areas, let the Democrats deal with what they want. And then if Trump or DeSantis gets in office, then deport everybody. You know what I'm saying? You could vet people and make sure you keep like the really best people. But at the end of the day, if they're such great people, we could send them back and they could help their country and it'll be a beautiful thing. It's like, God loves all his children, but we can't have 500 million people running all over the place. Like, hey, let's do it the right way. Let's do it the legal way. So, when Trump got in office, he deported less people than Obama. Why? And everybody's like, well, because he stopped more people at the border. Yeah, but a lot still got in, though. I'm fine with them deporting people. I mean, obviously, it's like I want good people to be comfortable and safe, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody, and I got love for everybody, and I don't dehumanize them. I'm not that person. But at the same time, if Trump's going to talk all this trash, at least do it. This is why I like DeSantis a little more. It's like Trump's like, he talks like he's going to deport everybody, and then he deports less people than Obama. Biden comes in and acts like he hates Trump's border policy, and then he just will do the same thing when it gets too overwhelming. Democrats pretend like it doesn't matter until they get 10,000 immigrants, then they cry in Martha's Vineyard or, in New York. So to me, that would be the right strategy. I mean, maybe some people agree, but if you can't stop them from coming in, send them to Democrat cities and send them to Democrat areas. And then when you get in office, deport everybody. But this is why Republicans might as well be controlled opposition. How are you going to talk the most about all this stuff and then you get in and deport less people than Obama? It's like talk and then not do. It's kind of annoying. But it's, I know he did do better border policy and he did build some of the wall, not all of it. But someone said Obama didn't send stuff back, research ploy. I don't like Obama. I'm just saying Trump I don't think he deported that many people. I think it could have been more, but whatever. Someone said it's getting bad here in Texas. It's been bad, but it's getting much worse. So much more crime. That's not just because of the border issues, but it adds to it. Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's a mess. I think the cities are becoming a mess. That's why it's annoying because, a lot of things annoy me, let's be honest. But when people start talking to me about like, oh, you hate race, you're anti-Semitic, you're racist, like I'm not any of those things. And in my perfect world, everyone would be at peace. So let's talk about it, because whether you're Jewish, Mexican, Asian, white, Christian, Muslim, and you live in a big city, you're feeling the fact that it's getting worse. New York's getting worse. Texas is getting worse. I love California, but I'm noticing more crime than I used to see in certain areas. Portland's getting worse. Everything's getting worse for all people. We should all be able to agree on this. We can't, but we should. And if we really want to protect people, our people, some people say our people because they care about their ethnicities a lot. It's like if you really cared about all this racial activism that everyone's doing, let's actually fix America if people are going to live in America, and they just don't want to do it. So to me, all this like you're racist, you're anti-Semitic, you're this, left wing, right wing, blah, blah, blah. Like all of this stuff is just like a diversion as the thing gets worse. And it's like, there's going to have to be some really tough conversation to fix crime in this country. It doesn't have to be hateful. Doesn't have to be nasty, but we got to talk real situation. Because if you're just calling everything racist and everything's anti-Mexican and the border's open, it's not sustainable. It's not going to work. It's just not. I don't want to see people in New York have to walk down the streets and feel unsafe. They did a study recently. I mean, I might as well find the exact example. And I see even like left-wing gay people like, oh, thank you for writing this. The amount of people that feel safe on the BART, which is the San Francisco public thing, I'm going to read it. Li Feng, great journalist. He's more left-leaning, but he does great work. He said only 17% of BART riders feel safe on the train. This is the San Francisco Bay Area, the cradle of liberalism in the country. 73% want the system to prioritize more policing for public safety. And some guy named Maxime B with a rainbow flag, he said, I'm so glad the survey captured what I and so many people around me are feeling. This is not an exaggeration. I have so many friends that don't want to go on the BART. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're a Jew, a Christian, a Muslim, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. If you live in San Francisco or New York, it's objectively getting crappier and not safe. So if you're a Jew in New York City getting on the subway, it's not the same subway that it used to be. If you really care about people the way I care about people, don't you want to fix New York City? Don't you want to make it safe for every race, religion, and gender, all 10 million of them, to feel safe on a subway or in the BART? Why do Democrats not care about this? And all these false accusations of racism, sexism, xenophobia, homophobia, it's all avoiding the problem. San Francisco on Twitter being like, oh, everybody hates gays. It's like 17% of people feel safe on your public transit. That's a failure. Run your city. I'm not saying it's right to ban all straight people, because I think that that's wrong, but it's like, I don't even care. If you're San Francisco and you feel so oppressed, ban everybody you hate from the city. I don't even care. But then fix your city, because it's like all these things you're saying, like, oh my gosh, yeah, fix your city. Doesn't matter how much you hate Trump. Doesn't matter how much you don't like conservatives or Bryson Gray. Fix your city. Fix it. Do whatever you have to do to stop. But it's not about the oppression and the hate and the comments on it. It's about you can't police a city. You don't know how to run a society. You're failing. You're weak. You're failing public transit. You're too weak. You're too fake. You're too naive. You pander to the worst people. You hate on the best people. You hate strong people. You love weakness. You care about the criminal more than you care about the good Samaritan. That's why 17% of people feel unsafe. You suck at running the city. I'm tired of all this stuff. That's like, it's just like, why, if you live in one of these cities, why even talk to me? I want your city to be fixed so everybody could be more safe. But everybody's running around crying about stuff online. It's like, as the cities just deteriorate. Texas, it's getting rough. Even Florida's rough. I mean, Florida is desirable to live as far as the weather's great. It's a little cheaper than like California and stuff. And, they have better policy, but Florida, a lot of construction, a lot of traffic. Every time I talk about Florida, someone says, Anomaly, I like you, but stay out of Florida. We're closed. And I get it. There's just so many people there. So it's like people don't even want me to go there because it's so many people. And there's also crime in Florida as well. It's like, there's pros and cons everywhere, but the country is objectively just getting kind of ghetto. And I'm talking about just like more crime, more filth, like, there's beautiful areas also, but like LA is a nightmare compared to what it was 10 years ago. It was never amazing. It was always a little grungy, but it's getting bad. I used to walk 15 blocks to work. Now there's 20 tents there. It's bad. It's bad for everybody. And when you walk past those tents, these people in the tent, they don't care if you're a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim or black or white. Nobody cares. This is the real world. 99% of people don't care anymore. Some people do. Most people don't. They're not looking on the BART to check to see, if you go to church or synagogue. They just don't care because there's like crackheads and mentally ill people. This is like the number one problem in these cities. And it's so annoying to me because every time someone cries about this or that, it's like, can we come together to actually fix something? Or are you just going to be like an agent of chaos and just flail your hands as these cities fall apart? San Francisco's like a no-go zone to me. I mean, there would have to be a real crazy reason for me to even want to go there. Los Angeles is a no-go zone to me. There would have to be a really crazy reason for me to go there. I used to love New York City. New York City is a no-go zone for me. There would have to be something really interesting or important for me to go there. I don't go there. I literally don't. I walk what I say. I'm not saying, oh, it sucks and I go there. I don't go to LA. I don't go to San Francisco. And I don't go to New York City. And I just don't want to. I never liked San Francisco, no offense, but I liked Los Angeles. I like New York City. It's still a great city. It's just failing. I don't want to be there. I don't feel good anymore, even outside of Portland. Well, as things get bad, it like grows out. So if you live in a suburb near LA or you live in a nice area near Portland, the filth and the chaos and the crime, it starts leaking out. If it goes up 30% there, it goes up 5% in your neighborhood, or it goes up more because if there were like, only one smash and grab in 10 years and now there's 3 in 1 year, then your crime raises like 10,000%. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes the suburbs get even worse in multiplication because the amount of crime that used to happen there compared to now can times 10 in a year if the city's failing too much. Someone said, North Carolina here as well. I agree. North Carolina is also money greedy. I know a lot of people try to pretend like, sometimes Republican area, like I'm not saying counties and stuff, but they'll be like, my state. And it's like, listen, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Florida, California, Portland. I mean, like Oregon. Every state has ghetto. Every state has crime. Every state has a big city that's probably failing. Maybe a few are getting better. A lot are getting worse. Like every state has it. Obviously a lot of the cities, if not all of them, are run by Democrats, but that's just the truth. It's like people will be like, how do you live there? It's like, well, where do you live? Do you live in Denver? Or do you live in Breckenridge or Aspen? Do you live in Washington is a beautiful state. Do you live in Seattle, or do you live outside, like in the mountains? Like, so when people are like, how do you live in California, or how do you live here? It's like, I don't live in Los Angeles. I did. It was cool for a minute, but every state has nice areas. Every state has not nice areas. So taxes are, a bummer and other things. But as far as like, how do you do it? It's like, we could pretend like all of Georgia has a MAGA flag on it and there's peace, love, and positivity, but Atlanta is not the same as like, a country farm. Like it's just not the same in any way. They don't have the same crime statistics. They don't have the same anything. So every state it's a beautiful country. This country is awesome. It's just like some areas are getting bad, lawless, degenerate, and this is one of my biggest gripes with the media. I have a lot, is they incentivize all this stuff. I mean, if we were a serious country with serious people that act like, there would be, instead of pharmacy commercials telling you to take pills on top of your pills on top of your pills, we would have like PSAs and stuff being like, listen, we don't care who you are, what color, what race, people got to act right. You got to stop stealing, don't steal from your neighbor. It's not right. Like, not like making excuses for it. You have somebody like rob an Asian lady's store and they'll be like, well, that's just what happens. Like, it's like the whole culture is leaning towards making it seem like it's okay to steal. It's okay to rob. It's like the dynamic. It's like it's like a PR team for evil. It's like, well, I mean, it's like, dude, I don't care if you got a MAGA hat on. I don't care if you got a BLM hat on. I don't care if you're black as night or white as snow. If you're bashing stores, setting fires, and just destroying a neighborhood, that's evil. Stop. But you watch Democrat media and you would think it was Martin Luther King resurrected or Rosa Parks on a bus. Like, this is amazing. They like crime. They like filth. They like evil. They like theft. And they're a PR team for all that stuff. And the whole country's suffering because not only is there no law and order, but our whole culture is acting like that's cool. It's not cool. It's not cool to rob an old lady. It's not cool to hit somebody in the head. It's not cool to hate somebody because of their culture. None of this stuff is cool, but they flip it and they try to make it seem like it's activism. It's like, well, if you hate these people, it's okay. But, it's all bad. And the media is make it seem like it's so amazing. A little off topic, but I did want to talk about this today just because I thought it was funny. They made Ariel Holly Berry, who's a beautiful black woman, but Ariel was a white character. And because everything now has to be something else, they changed the race of a character that isn't real. Whatever. I don't care, but I see what they're doing. Anyway, I watched the Under the Sea. There's like a little clip of it. And it's so bad. It's hilarious because, like, I mean, obviously Holly Berry looks fine, but you go to this like little crab and it's like under the sea. It looks like it's coming from like honestly, Toy Story looks better than this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Tom and Jerry looks better than this. It looks so stupid. Like it almost looks like somebody made it on Microsoft Paint. I'm like, they spent so much time making Ariel black that they forgot to make the rest of the movie good. The song was boring. It wasn't a good rendition. The little like crab in the ocean looked like terrible graphics. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like Toy Story looks cool. Like WALL-E looks cool. Like these graphics, it looks so corny. I'm like, would you run out of money with hiring diversity hires? You had to make the crab look like a freaking cardboard cutout. Like, it's embarrassing. The movie's gonna suck. And then someone's in the comments like, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, I'm not talking about Holly Berry. I'm talking about the crab. And she's like, what about are you calling me racist because I don't like the crab? It's the crab. I'm just saying they spent so much energy on the race of Ariel that they forgot to make the song good, the scene good, the ocean look good, and the crab to look good. The movie's going to suck. It's like a little cardboard cutout. So stupid, dude. They can't, like, whatever happened to like funny movies? When's the last time they made a funny movie? People can't be funny anymore. They're too busy. You got to watch a stand up because everybody's crying about Trump on Twitter. It's so stupid, dude. I'm so over it. Someone said, literally watched a guy spray paint some stuff he bought at Home Depot on a home shelf so he didn't have to buy the paint. Workers just watch. Well, I think a lot of people are afraid of getting sued, or they just don't care because there's no like pride in the like company. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have an attachment to your company. Like maybe back in the day, people actually cared about their neighborhood and the company. But if you work for like CVS or Home Depot, it's like, am I going to stick my neck out for Home Depot? Like, do I really care that much? Or am I going to get sued? Or, you know, like, are they going to call me a name? It's scary nowadays to stop somebody from doing a crime, because people will film you and try to make you look like the bad person. Every time there's been a good Samaritan, unless it's like so obvious that they like save a baby or something. You get what I'm saying? Like if you save a baby, it's like everyone loves you. But like if it's some sort of controversial stopping a criminal and somebody films it, like these people can ruin your life. And it's honestly creepy. Like nobody wants to be the person everyone's looking at and hating on. It's like, it's too much. Someone said when the avatar was white, people lost their minds. When Annie went back to a white girl, people freaked out. I didn't even know Avatar was white. And Annie was black at one point. Like Annie was white. And then from Annie, what's it called? The little orphan movie. They made her black and then they turned her back to white and people got mad. I didn't even know she went black. I'm old school. I don't watch the new stuff. It's like, I've seen the original Annie. I've seen the original Willy Wonka. They turned him into like an emo hipster. I was like, pass, you know? Do you remember that? It's like Tim Horton or whatever. What is it? Not Tim Horton. Horton Hears a Who. What's the guy who makes all the scary movies like the Skeleton movie? It's like Johnny Depp is emo Willy Wonka. It's like, ew. I want to watch the Gene Wilder one. Like, wow, he painted his nails and now he's like goth. Oh, Willy Wonka. Oh, Tim Burton. My bad. Tim Hortons is that Canadian place where you can get coffee. It's like, oh, I'm Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory. I love goth music. I painted my nails. Cool, dude. Pass. I never watched it. They always got to do something. I just thought it was funny that like the whole Ariel thing, it's like the graphics look terrible. I was like, dude, but there's also a symbol there. It's like when you say you're like making a plane or building a boat or like, just do it right. You know what I'm saying? Do it right. Everyone will appreciate you. If the engineer's Indian, God bless them, build the boat, bro. You know, nobody cares, but everyone's got to do everything but do the thing that they're doing. So if you're making a movie and you're doing everything except for making the movie and writing the script and making everything good, then you're going to get a crappy product. It doesn't matter if it's Halle Berry or Reese Witherspoon. Like, make something good. These people can't do anything great anymore, so they just attack everybody else all the time. It's like, just make something good. At least some musicians make good music and they have annoying opinions. Like some of these, like Hollywood, they're just doing nothing. Like for like the last 15 years, like, oh, you don't like the trans person? It's like the whole movie's terrible. It's all bad. Just like the plot's bad, the songs are bad, the script's bad, everything about it's bad because you spent all your energy forcing your agenda instead of like evaluating who's actually good at doing it. It's so cringe. Tim Hortons wasn't letting unvaccinated poor kids go to their charity camps. I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised. That's insane. Someone said, I resisted Twitter until Elon bought. Please join. It's great for conservatives now. Denise said, nope, Trump is for the vax. RFK Jr.'s not. Isaac Penna said, love the beanie. You got it in red. No, I just got black and blue, or blue and black. So I got black and blue. My tablet has angry juice. What does that mean? That's a good thing for me, but that's an angry tablet. I don't even know what that means. But if you got an angry tablet, you might be able to take it back and be like, they're like, is something wrong with your tablet? You're like, yeah, it's angry. And you just like put it up and it's got, you paint like eyebrows on it. And they're like, did you write those on with a Sharpie? And you're like, no, it came this way. It's been angry the whole time I've had it. It won't even charge. It's dead. I mean, I tried to charge it, but it's too angry to even go on the charger. It says stop, stop touching me. You're like, that's one angry tablet. Let's see. Appreciate you guys. God bless. I'm gonna head out. I definitely don't want to go over 2 hours, so I'm not going to. With that being said, what time is it even? 9:25. Yeah, I'm gonna roll in a little bit, but I'm gonna stay maybe until like 1:52, if that's a thing. Angry tablets matter. They absolutely do. They really do. Let me see. I like Connie's energy. I don't even know who Connie is, but I do. I do also. Thank you, Phaedra. Appreciate you. Earl said, I miss you. Appreciate you guys. I do a show every day. It's just Facebook doesn't show it out. So you can watch it on BitChute, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube. I don't want to promote YouTube because I don't like Google or YouTube, but I will say this. YouTube sends out a notification. Facebook does not anymore. I used to have 4,000 people live every day because Facebook would send out a notification. They don't anymore. So that's why people see it after the show. It's fine, but it's annoying. It is what it is. So subscribe on YouTube if you want to see it. Eventually, I'll go live on Rumble. It's just they have nice customer service. Like I even have someone's phone number from there. Super nice guy. But their technology, it's harder to go live than on Facebook or YouTube. I would go live every day on Rumble, but they don't have the capability for me to plug it in and let it be. I'd have to redo it every time, which is annoying. And then after I do the live stream, it's like it takes, like the Rumble system is just a little weird. But, I like the people there, so I hope they do well. It's not working. I wish it did because I know that Rumble, I would probably end up getting more people on Rumble than YouTube quickly. Troy said, you've been consistent all through this crisis. Thank you for your voice. One of the few I trust. Appreciate you, Troy. And I hope people remember that. Like if, I don't want to be someone that's a has-been that lives in the past, but my reporting in 2020, I was on it. And like most people were not. I was there for people when people weren't there. I was willing to call out our side when our side was lying. I was willing to challenge Trump on the data when Trump was misreading the data. I was willing. And then people want to say I'm hateful. It's like, just leave me alone. I'm just here to say it like I see it. I'm not here to pretend like I'm on the sidelines with a freaking fan thing on my head. But, if someone says something funny, I'll have fun with it. I want to play this clip again because it is really funny, and I do like it. This guy is probably not a good person. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's an amazing person, but he's probably not a good person. But I just think this is so funny. I can't help it.
Crypto bros make money literally by making money, and they've made over $1 trillion out of thin air. They'll accuse the U.S. government of making money out of thin air. Maybe we do, but we're the U.S. government.
I love that. I don't know why. It's not like a good thing, but he's just like, maybe we do. Maybe we do print money. Maybe we do that. You caught us. Okay, you caught us. Maybe we do print money, but that's just what we do. We're the U.S. government. I mean, get over it. Crypto bros. Dude, that guy's low key. That's like probably the best thing he's ever done in his career. That's his Jordan moment. Oh, these crypto bros. Oh, you created your money out of thin air. Oh, and then they say, oh, we created our money out of thin air. I mean, yeah, we did. Oops. It's like, okay, it's true, but that guy versus crypto bros. Someone said, number yourself, 1 left, 10 right. I don't know. I even feel like that's kind of a little trap because I get it, like left wing, right wing, it's like a scale. And I'm not a centrist in the fact of like, oh, I'm a fence sitter. I have no opinions. I have opinions, but tonight it's like, oh, I could say I'm right wing or I'm left wing, but I'm thinking about a scale right now. And I'm not saying I'm a centrist in the middle of politics because I'm not, but I want to be like center. I feel like even the framing of it, where it's like back in the day, I used to hate when they called me right wing. I used to hate that because I wasn't right wing. And like, they were like, you're right wing. And I'm like, no, I'm just, and then after a certain amount of time, it's like they call you something so much you don't care, and then you start looking at policies, like, okay, sure. But like when I started coming out doing news analysis and I was backing Trump, I didn't feel like I was right wing. I'm just calling it like I see it. But now I don't care. Like if someone says you're conservative or you're right wing, it's like, sure. But I'm also a bunch of things. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to challenge my side. But on a scale, it's like they want to just throw you on a side and then be like, I want to be like a grounded person. But yeah, I mean, on a political scale, the left doesn't make sense. In a perfect world, maybe if both sides had good people there, certain policies from both sides can make sense, but that's just not the case. So I don't know. Yeah, like someone said labels are annoying. Exactly. I get it though, because sometimes people will be like, are you libertarian? It's like, kind of, but not like, I'm not like the libertarian Twitter I follow. I agree with a lot of what they say, but some things I disagree with. I don't know. I'm not a full-blown libertarian. I just think they make a lot of sense on certain aspects. Conservative, I think I'm conservative, but I don't know. Sometimes conservatives say something as a party, and I'm like, I'm not pigeonholed in that thought. And if I did agree with that, I wouldn't say it that way. So it's tough. There's pros and cons of being with a group. You get a lot of people, you have more friends, you have more representation. But then the con is like now you get dragged into what everyone else does. And it's like you got to either pretend like you agree with it or you got to disagree with it and get everyone to get mad at you. So it's like I'm not an individualist. Like I just want to be by myself. But sometimes when I see groups and it's like, I don't know. It's like I don't want to really be a part of that. Like I'm not against it. I'll show up to a few events and say hi and speak, but I'm not like, that's who I am. I'm that. That's it. I'm that right there. That just copy that and that's me. It's like I have a lot of different feelings, a lot of different interests. Outside of politics, I miss the times when people could just like do things like do music and it's like what are you? Dude, you're here to listen to music, I'm here to perform. Let's have a day like that and then we could talk about politics tomorrow. Like that's how I want to live my life. It's like it really annoys me when people, I mean, I'm getting to the point where I don't care anymore, unfortunately, but like, you know, when people try to frame me as like, I hate all people from a certain group, it's just annoying because I have friends from that group. I have neighbors from that group. I got people that I love and speak to. So it's like in the internet, there'll be people that'll say that's who you are. But in reality, it's like, that's not who I am. And I understand I work on the internet. Internet is where opinions go around and that's part of it. So I'm not a victim by any means, but it's like at the same time, it's just annoying. You know, I think people are burnt out of the internet for a reason because it's like, you know, the internet could be fun. The internet could be a blessing. There's a lot of cool things going on, but it could be a burnout, especially when the energy gets negative and chaotic and, you know, stressful and people start, it's like, okay, even if you do have that opinion and you do have that opinion, like what are you trying to gain out of the energetic tangle that's going on here? Like, you know, with the person that was smearing me, I tried to respond because I thought maybe like they would rescind it because it was, in my view, inaccurate and just like a little much. That was my initial idea was like, maybe if I say this, they'll rescind it and like rethink it. But in reality, it just created this like energetic spiral of like, and then I'm just like, I'm over this, bro. Like I'm not that person, but it's like, I'm not going to spend the next 3 years of my life thinking about you because I got other stuff to do. So, you know, that's how I see certain like situations where some people are looking for like an argument. It's like, I'm not doing that. I'll have a debate. I'll have a conversation. But, you know, when I log into Twitter sometimes, some people's energy is permanently like, and I'm not that person. I'm like, yo, I would much rather chat, have a bite, agree to disagree, have a nice, honest discussion about it, try to come to like, you know, see the, not like that. But Trisha said, it feels like a fake world online and it makes it easy to cling to a group. Yeah, for sure. That's absolutely true. It is a lot. It's a lot of like artificial, it's like artificial reality. And the thing with the algorithm though, is like, you know, if you see 10 people who say the same thing, sometimes you just think it's true. My whole job for the last 7 years now has been to basically, before they had fact checkers, and I wasn't like, I'm the truth. I'm not like Anthony Fauci. I'm not the science. But in general, when the media would lie so much, my whole job was, and it went in the favor of Trump often, was to be like, I'm going to show you the truth. Like, here's what's going on. Like, that's not even true. So it's like, I was always doing these videos to get through the narrative. And I think as social media has gone on, you know, because it's so divisive, you have like the Trump right-wing thing. Now you have like a DeSantis thing, and then you have the left-wing thing. And you have these like reality tunnels where like, you know, most people that I saw in my feed that are like DeSantis operatives, or they work with him, or they like him a lot, or they're just like in the bag for him, they were trying to find every way that they could just make this Trump thing seem as bad as possible, when I'll tell you my opinion about him working with CNN, but it was like they were reaching. Reaching is when you're like doing too much out of your own bias. And then I listen to the Trump people, and they're reaching the most. Like, I don't think it's just DeSantis supporters reaching. I think Trump people are reaching like, this is the greatest thing ever. Oh my gosh, they're applauding because he did a deal with CNN. If Ron DeSantis did a deal with CNN and CNN starts applauding, are these same Trump supporters going to be like, oh, look, CNN's clapping for Ron DeSantis. That's so great. Of course not. These Trump supporters would say, oh, CNN did a deal with DeSantis. That proves that he's deep state. People could get mad at me, but you know I'm right. I'm the real deal. And I'm not even trying to brag, but I'm the real deal. I can identify that both sides are a little sneaky like that. It's just true. There's no way if Ron DeSantis went on Twitter and said, I did a deal with CNN, then he went on CNN, they gave him somewhat fair treatment, and they started cheering for his takes, which they never would cheer for 2 weeks ago. There's 0% chance that 99% of Trump influencers would be like, oh, that was really smart of Ron DeSantis, art of the deal. They'd be saying he's deep state, he's the swamp, he's working with CNN. And that's why I'm not a part of one of these groups, because they're fake. It's just an echo chamber. Here's my guy. Everything he does is great. This guy I hate, and I'm just going to lie pathologically about everything that happens and put it in my little thing. And then the left does the same thing. They're like, here's my thing. I just hate Trump. It's like everyone's in these little worlds. It's an artificial world. The artificial left-wing reality where you just have to pretend like you're exactly that cutout, the right-wing Trump artificial reality. Now you have a little subsect of people who are working for or like DeSantis a lot. That's fine. I like him to an extent too, but it's like, just be honest. Just be honest. You should, you know, politics is ugly, and this is why most people used to not watch politics and why people don't like it. It's because it's an ugly world where people will do anything to gain power. They'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll steal, they'll smear your character. This is not new. The character just completely like destroy who you are as a person in order to, you know, achieve something in politics. This is what they've always done. And it's just like, you know, that's what they're doing now. And people are just more a part of it now. But just a thought is, if you're in any of these realities, just be aware that you don't turn into somebody that you hate, because a lot of left-wingers have turned into the person they hate, and a lot of Trump people have turned into what they hate. And to be fair, a lot of these people who are working with or just like DeSantis so much, it's like they're just trying too hard. You know what I'm saying? They're trying too hard to, like, you don't need to try to make Trump look bad. Like, he says a lot of dumb stuff now on True Social that just doesn't make sense. Just be honest with the angle. Don't listen to like a decent take that he has and be like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. It's like, was it though? Was it really that bad? Or, you know, like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Appreciate you guys. Someone said, this is true. I don't think Trump making a deal with CNN looks good for him. I would watch CNN just because of Trump. Well, I'm just laughing at the influencers. Like, this is amazing. They're cheering. Yeah, because he did a deal with him. And if the other one did a deal, people would be freaking out. But that just shows you how easy it is to manipulate people. If you give them a character and a plot and a thing, they don't have values or morals. They're not like a pillar. They sway like that guy who sells cars with his arms flying all over the place. It's just what it is. Appreciate you guys. I got to keep this under 2 hours. It's too much. Have a beautiful day. I'll be back soon. And thank you, everybody, showing love and supporting. Stay peaceful, stay honest. And thank you to everybody that's, showing a lot of love. I appreciate it all the time, but especially at times when people try to, smear me and defame me. It's just, it's been a weird week, but it's all love. And I pray for even the people that are doing that, because I just don't have the energy or time to argue. It's not what I'm about. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, Stay Blessed long sleeve, God is Great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. DreamRare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/RareTalk. For $5 a month, you can help support me. Support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the DreamRare.com shop and Patreon.com/RareTalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description or just type in on any browser stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying. So I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/DreamRareChat or @DreamRareChat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. DreamRareChat at Telegram. My Instagram is @DreamRare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And DreamRareLinks.com, that's DreamRareLinks.com, has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at DreamRareLinks.com. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. You already know I'll be back with more content soon.